Christ is going to bring back, it's nothing to give up everything. It's nothing. Read on.
Shall receive an hundredfold.
Shall receive an hundredfold, read.
And shall inherit everlasting life.
And shall inherit everlasting life. Those that are dealing with this type of spirit have no fear of death. Death is something that's used by Satan to put us in bounds, to put us in captivity spiritually. You cannot do anything to this body. You can't. Because if I serve the Most High, and if we do what we're supposed to do, we will live eternal anyway. You can take this body, because what we're coming back with, you cannot deal with. And that's what people have to understand. It's not about fearing governments. It's not about fearing FEMA. All those things is part of prophecy, and we know what's going to happen. But we have to move our minds beyond that. Anybody making any moves strictly off of fear, you're not serving the Most High. You're doing it to exalt his name. Like Christ says, this gospel shall be preached throughout the four corners of the earth, and then the end shall come, so that we can receive our kingdom in everlasting life. That's understanding our payment. And when you understand that, you're willing to put everything on the line. Everything and everybody, including yourself. And that's what Christ did. People talk about, let's be like Christ, let's follow Christ. Are we in the spirit of Christ? But how many people are willing to put themselves out on the line like he did? How many people are willing to do their Father's business regardless of their personal relationships? And when the Holy Spirit say, listen, go and do this, to be free to be able to do it. And be willing to break any covenant with anybody in this earth if they have a covenant with death. You don't have to make a covenant with death with someone, that, even if you love them. Two cannot walk together unless they be agreed. What's that? Okay? So there's more we're going to show with this. We're going to show everything with this because, brothers and sisters, we're here. We're here. And through this, through the times that's coming, only the spiritually strong will survive. Only the spiritually strong will survive what's coming. Finish reading.
St. Matthew, chapter 19, verse 30. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Christ made a statement, but many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. We read that and don't examine the deep understanding of this particular verse. Some people may think, well, I've been praising God for 30 years. I've been praising the Lord and I've been doing this all my life. I've been having a relationship with the Most High and God and Jesus. But Christ says, but many that are first shall be last. The generation we live in right now is the generation, not the generations that preceded it. If they had the way, they would have brought forth the kingdom. If they had the way, they would have stood up with truth instead of dealing with pacification. That's not the generation. You have to look at this generation now. This generation now is a generation of spiritual rebels that's not dealing with the status quo, that are not attached to the institutions that have programmed the people to put you in a state of fear of government and the fear of death and the fear of Satan. Look at when Christ came on the scene. There was many factions that came before him. many factions. And they was looking at him. Look at this young guy, 30-something years old. Look at us. We've been holding the traditions of our fathers. And Christ told them that through the mouth of babes, I'm going to speak to my people. You can't put new wine in old bottles lest it'll burst. Some people are so filled up with their doctrines and their way of life, they can't change. So you can't even give them new wine. This is the generation right here. There's a remnant that are amongst our people, that are amongst our children, that's changing this whole earth, and no one can do anything about it. That's why they have sped up their death sentences against the children of Israel. They know the Spirit of the Most High is waking up our people in a vast number for a mass movement that they're not prepared to deal with. They can deal with all the carnal wars, but they can't deal with a spiritual war. They have no idea how to fight that because they're carnal. This is the generation, not the people, not the generation that came before them. They've been pacified. Okay? And they're just not the generation. This is the generation that's going to stand. Let's go to Matthew 16. And let's start at about, the whole chapter is good, talking about beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Let's start at the 20th verse. Let's get, all of it is good. Let's go to 16 and 16.
St. Matthew, chapter 16, verse 16. And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee that, and I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock will I build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Now it says here that Christ would build his church and his understanding on Peter, because Peter understood through the Holy Spirit that Christ was the Son of the Most High. He was the first spirit that the Most High created. Before the angels, before the heavens, before the earth, Christ was the first begotten of the Father. And you know what? Peter understood this. He understood this against all doctrines that was taught before Christ. They was waiting for Elijah. They was waiting for David. They was waiting for everyone to come. But no one perceived that he was the Messiah. So Peter understood the Holy Spirit. Now there's something else I want to show you here in a second. But staying on this topic for 1 second, I want you to understand how even the Catholic Church understood that Peter would be, somebody get that book about the popes out of there for me, if you don't mind. They understood that Christ's doctrine and understanding would only come, or primarily come, through Peter. So the Catholic Church had to circumvent Peter to make everyone believe that that church that was being built was the Roman Catholic Church. And this book, which was a gift, and I thank the Most High for this gift,